It's always in the news, whether it's property prices or availability to buy. Now the government is sending a signal it wants to create the stock of available new housing. Some people will be thinking that they can now get on the property ladder. Let's look at first-time buyers and perhaps people returning to the housing market after a long time.
It's obviously very important, I would say, to have the right team of advisors, professional advisors, estate agents, solicitors, accountant if necessary, depending on a person's circumstances, and also to plan ahead based on their personal circumstances too.
Just talk us through then the procedure. Perhaps I've got my mortgage in place. What are the next steps? How does it evolve, the process of buying a house?
Yeah, I mean, the legal process, the term is conveyancing, so that's what's known as the buying and selling of property. The legal term. So in a conveyance, from a buyer's perspective, they would need to instruct a solicitor to whom they'll need to make known their requirements, i.e. time frame and how quickly and how they're going to finance the transaction. The solicitor will undertake the necessary searches. These are in relation specifically to the property which the individual is looking to purchase. And they can show things such as enforcement orders or any kind of environmental issues which may affect the property. So that they are important points, searches to be undertaken. In addition to that, there should be a survey for the property. A survey would need to be undertaken. So there are a number of professionals involved in the conveyancing process, and it's for the buyer's solicitor to really pull everything together and to report to the buyer's, to his client or her client on the outcome of their findings in a report. Once the transaction's going ahead, the buyer will need to pay usually what is a 10% deposit, which is known as exchange of contracts. Up until that point, it's subject to contract, which means that either party can walk away. Once we have a contract in place, it's then binding. And there are consequences for the parties if they withdraw. At that point, completion is set, a date of completion. That's when the buyer legally becomes the owner of the property. And that's when they'll pay the balance of the purchase monies and the related costs.
So we've looked at buyers, Ahmed. What do sellers need to know?
Sellers need to be aware of what's known as an EPC, Energy Performance Certificate. Now, this will tell a buyer the energy efficiency of the property, its impact on the environment, and it should also tell them the running costs of the property, such as the lighting, heating, and water usage in the property. Although these are for the benefit mainly of the buyer, it's a legal requirement on the seller to have one when selling a property.
So we've talked about buyers and sellers in residential. I mean, what would your advice be? What are the key things people buying to let for the first time need to know?
Well, when buying to let, there are additional measures which a landlord will need to bear in mind and observe, such as safety certificates, gas safety, electrical certificates, consents, possible consents that they may need to obtain to let out the property. These could be from the landlord, or they could be of the property, or from the council. And to ensure that their position as well as their tenant's position is safeguarded by way of a suitable tenancy agreement.
What are the essential tips you'd give to anyone entering the property market?
At Moonbeaver, our advice is to have the right professionals behind you, accountants, solicitors, estate agents, and to plan to safeguard your future.